And of course, we'll probably start at home first.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I believe it started. Okay, I'm going to start the recording. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Poetry and Prose on the 18th of June. Thank you so much for joining us for our open mic and discussion session. Today we have a host of poetry on Father's Day, and I am looking forward very much to discussing the poems that we would have read prior. And with that, I'm going to jump right into the program, and we will start with Shahira Ali reading Father's Ritual. Shahira, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Now, before I even begin to read anything, I would like to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Thank you.
You know, many times they are not given the sort of respect and love they deserve, you know. But yeah, today is your special day. Right. So back to the program now. So I will be reading the Father's Ritual. So let's begin. After the 7 o'clock news, my father sits in the backyard taking breeze. This island's act of contrition to Caribbean evening, penance for the sun. He sits on our old wrought iron gallery chairs he claimed as his from my mother. He sits with friends when I'm imprisoned to a darkened room. But I can hear their murmurs, just stopping by like moths. They saw the lights on, except the backyard lights are off. And if I peek through the blinds, I can see shadows from the glow of our kitchen light. Men sitting with my father in a half circle, glasses in hand. I like it when Uncle Robert visits. He talks the loudest and tells jokes. I cover my mouth and laugh with them. In secret, in darkness, the mosquito fearing the hand. At times, my father sits alone. If I close my eyes and listen, beyond the soundtrack all mothers play, I hear the ice in his glass ching. I hear him whistle to the wind. And that's the end of the poem, just like that. And of course, it's written by none other than Gersha. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Shahira. Any comments before we move on to the next piece? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move along to our next reader, Vishnu Gosain. He will be reading A Rainbow in the North by Geeta Serju. She's a Guyanese Trinidadian author. Vishnu, you have the floor.
Are you all seeing me there?
I'm gonna send a request for you to start your video. It should pop up on your screen.
That okay?
There you are.
Okay, fine, thank you. So I'm going to read a piece, an extract from a novel, A Rainbow to the North by Guyanese Caribbean novelist Gita Autara-Sirichu. And she has also written a book or other novels, Fortunate Disaster, Castles in the Sky, and Lone Survivor. And the extract I'm going to read is an extract from chapter 4 of the novel A Rainbow in the North. Devan took up his spot in front of the screen that reflected the images of the camera he had personally installed. Oh, damn, what the hell is he doing here? His shout woke up his friend Terry. What? What happened? He stupidly jumped off the bed. Devan zoomed the screen for a closer look at the faces. What the hell is Prem doing here? He will not make a mess of my plans again, he fumed. Who in heaven's name is Prem? He's the one who always messes with my plans. Focusing on the woman next to Prem in the back seat, his memory clicked. And that is the doctor with him. He did not recognize her from that unfortunate night, but it wasn't in that way he was interested in her. Something about her said that she was off limits. Devan could not tell why, but he somewhat felt intimidated by Jaya. He did not know that Jaya was inspired by the hidden weapon in her handbag, a hidden weapon that added to the confidence in her stride, the one she had taken everywhere since Ranu and Archie had left for Trinidad. Once bitten, twice shy. Her mind was made up. She would not allow Devan or anyone else to take advantage of her or her loved ones ever again. Frustrated and angry in his apartment, Devan turned around and toppled the bed over, sending the mattress to one side. Once again, Prem had made a laughing stock of it. Calm down, Devan. Calm down, Terry said. Let us think it through. Good sense encouraged Devan to abort the plan, but ego overrode, and he looked for a new method to make it work. Agitatedly, Devan called his cousin on the phone. Vikash, we have to regroup. Prem is here from India. He will definitely complicate things. Vikash, who had been skeptical of helping Devan all along, sighed. Okay, calm down. Meet me at the car. An ill feeling about the whole idea. He was beyond such petty business, since he was running with the bigger guys now. But Devan was present. Couldn't let him down. For the few childhood years Vikash had spent in India, he and Devan had fought for control of everything and everything. Besides, this was an age-old rivalry between them, and now that he had asked for his help, Vikash did not refuse, or he would have looked soft. After all, he too had an ego to feed. The personality conflict was an ongoing story between them. Devan was crazy. Everyone he associated with knew that. Some were wary, and some thought craziness was a good thing, especially others that followed him, his goons. They thought that be exactly because he was the leader and he needed to keep things line. Often they would gun and aim it at the random person for no reason. Out of fear, his goons showered him with false respect, and his ego glowed, leaving him feeling ever so powerful. Being in Trinidad without his regular villains, his self-image suffered. Vikash was an entity of his own. He did not use Devan's arrogance. Forget that. I'll give you the money. Vikas said discouragingly. It is no longer about the money. This is the last time Prem will ever mess with my plans, Divan explained. In college, every time Prem knew about any of my plans, he messed them up. Not, not, you're not thinking rationally, Divan. You're allowing your rage to block your vision. In this business, you have to have a cool. Things could go wrong and you could be sent to jail. Your daddy is not here in Trinidad to bail you out. Let it be. Vikas had right. He knew anyone with a lick of sense would see danger lurking and would back away. But not selfish Devan. He was determined to have his nasty way. Devan pumped the pedal and revved the engine, pulling hard on his cigarette, waiting for the gate to open. Terry in the next seat to him, Devan, don't move for his. You will make mistakes. In this business, you can't afford to do that, or you will end up in a big yard. Devan's God told him to listen to Terry, but it took a lot more than that to convince him. Slapping the steering wheel, he cursed and fumed in his native language while driving to meet his cousin. Finally, he decided to keep a low profile until opportunity came again. And that was an extract from A Rainbow in the North by Gita Avatar Siritu, the Guyanese and Caribbean. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you very much for reading. Any comments on the story, please?
And before that I voted, I supported Bernie Sanders, and actually last year I went on a road trip and I had a Bernie Sanders bumper sticker on my car and a big Bernie Sanders poster on the back.
Okay. Any comments on the story, please? Vishnu, I think it's very common when people, well, especially young people, go from one country to the next to try so hard to fit in, to get caught up in that.
Yes.
So it's nice to see it from a local perspective. Because you always hear about it when...
And then she has spun basically in the... I like the shifting images, one place to the other. You come back here and you try to fit in and you can't fit in. And I like the part where people depend on other people for support inside. And hey, you got to stand on your own now, you know. Your father is no longer here. Anyway, that's my take on it. But I like the piece. I think it's nice. I don't know what the end looks like yet. Pretty interesting piece. Rainbow.
You read it as you go along to us.
Okay.
I just want to welcome.
Sorry to interrupt, but somebody entered with a Samsung, and we need to know who has come in. Person with Samsung SM, kindly let us know who has come in.
Please.
Hi, Samsung. SM. May we have your name, please?
For me?
No, Vishnu, I changed your name already. Someone came in using a Samsung tablet, so we're just trying to identify the person. We just need your first name.
Is that me, Harry Sharon Narayan?
No, Harry, you're entered under your name.
Your name is there. It's
I think the person's name is Gita.
Okay, it's Gita.
Yeah. Yes, this is Gita, but I'm having a little problem connecting.
Okay,
So
well, thanks, Gita. We just needed to know it was you.
We know who it is.
Okay.
So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
just got the end of Mr. Vishnu's reading, and I just want to say thank you very much for promoting my book.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and ask everyone that's not reading at this time to mute. And the new members that came in, Geeta, Harry Charan, Darren, Raymond, Moses, yay, welcome. Thank you for coming out, and happy Father's Day to all that missed Shahira's lovely Father's Day greeting. All right, we're going to move ahead to the program to go ahead and ask Frank Mohan to unmute. He will be reading for us today a piece entitled 17. Frank, you have the floor.
Okay. This is a poem that's cleverly written by Gersha Mahabir. I enjoyed looking at it and reading it. I think it's quite clever. It's called 17. In his 45th year, 2 bottles in, he said to me, but more to his glass, 17? I have 17 kids. I should have asked their names. I should have asked the names of their mothers. I should have asked their ages. I should have asked how he feels, not knowing how his seed is growing, if his daughters need protecting, if his son's voice is changing. Does he not wonder on what earth does his fruit lay? Instead, I laughed in disbelief, watched the green lights dance on the bar, watched the wetness clinging to his glass as he kissed the rim. It dripped to his shirt. He didn't seem to feel it, but I did. That's written by our own Gersha Mahabir. I thought it was a cleverly written piece.
Thank you so much for reading, Frank. Any comments?
Yes, I was going to say very clever and also witty, quite a fetching little piece. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
Just as an aside, is my audio cracking up? Like,
No, I heard you clearly.
okay.
With the particular piece, I just wanted to, there are lots of fathers out there who are fathers but not fathers. And I think on Father's Day, they always get, they don't get any acknowledgement. You know, there's a movement to wish single mothers happy Father's Day for absent fathers. But just because they're absent, it doesn't always mean that they're not, their children doesn't enter their mind at some point. So that's what led me to write that piece. All right, if there are no other comments, we're gonna move right along to Krishna Samaru, and he's going to be reading Father's Day Rumination.
Ruminations. Thank you, Gersha.
Thank you for reading.
Poetry and prose. Father's Day ruminations. I was a father before I was a father. That's right. I was a father before I was a father. My teenage cousin had this child for a youth she met in a shoe store on Charlotte Street, and who had completely bowled her over with his good looks. He was of Germanic stock. She was young and restless, well, innocent really, to the point of being naive. I suppose she had no idea of how easy it was to get pregnant. But pregnant she got. Yep. The German had impregnated my cousin. And to this day, I have absolutely no idea of his whereabouts. She named her son Timothy. It was for this boy I played the role of a kind of surrogate father, spoiling him rotten in his toddler days especially. I was his Goggen. I have no idea what that means in German. But to this day, big man as he is, with sons of his own, and at one time engaged in tours of duty as a Marine in the American Army, he was one taking down Saddam Hussein, the man with weapons of mass destruction. I am still to Timothy his Goggen. But I have jumped ahead. By the time Timothy had come around, I was already on the way to being seasoned in this role of surrogate father. My elder sister, just one step higher than me, my parents made us in steps, 9. 2 died, well, 3 now. My parents made us in steps, as we say, 1 for every year. My sister had tied a knot early, literally knotted, if ever you have seen a dullaha and dullahin getting married according to Hindu rites. She tied the knot with someone who, well, let's just say, flattered to deceive. Their firstborn was a girl whom they named Alina. They had found some shelter by some relatives in Borsia village, Maraval, while we lived in Bella Road, Belmont. On Saturday mornings, I used to steal this girl from them and return her the following evening. Needless to say, she, that is Alina, would scream her heart out or lungs out whenever I took my leave of her. That affair ended when they left Borsia village and resettled in Five Rivers, Aruca. When in 1974, I joined the teaching staff as an assistant teacher 3 at Fatima College, I was told that part of my role during school hours was to act in loco parentis. That put into context why some of my cute and adorable charges begged me to buy sweet drink and bellyful for them from the school's cafeteria, and why those to whom I was their favorite teacher asked every day without fail for 25 cents to help make up passage money to travel home. Later in 1979, after gaining my degree and posted to teach at Pleasantville Senior Comprehensive School, the attitude of these lower form boys I had met at Fatima College intensified as quite a number of boys and girls from Pleasantville, coming from homes of socio-economic background of a polar opposite, adopted me as a kind of godfather. So when I got married in 1983, I was more than ready for the demands of fatherhood. And so I threw away through the window whatever contraceptives I had stashed away in my bedroom drawers. However, month after month after month, my wife kept shaking her head. I began to despair. I dreaded every month end. But one time, while we were rocking and rolling in the haystack, she let out a brief, sharp cry. Naturally, a proud smile flashed across my face in spite of coitus interruptus. I felt certain she was pregnant. Neither of us bargained for what was really behind the sharp pain my wife felt. It turned out that a cyst in one of her ovaries had ruptured at that point. To cut a long story short, she had to undergo emergency surgery. The goodly doctor, whose name I will never forget, but which I will not mention here, genuinely apologized for not being able to save the ovary, but added the other one seemed cystic as well, and he had a mind, in as much as he was already inside, to hearken to the time-honored rule that prevention is better than cure. He also mentioned in passing that my wife would never suffer from appendicitis, as while he was inside, as I said before, he excised the appendix. Fortunately, seeing that this surgeon was in a cutting mood with his sharp scalpel, my brother-in-law, who happened to be with me in this my hour of need, and he, being a general practitioner, asked to have a look at my wife's ovary, his sister's ovary. An eternity later, both doctors emerged side by side from the operating theater of the San Fernando General Hospital. The surgeon informed me that my brother-in-law had suggested, in spite of his meaning the surgeon's expert professional advice, that they leave the remaining ovary for the time being and monitor it over the next few months. Discovering that my wife were newlyweds, he suggested that we brace ourselves for the inevitable of not being able to have any children. And he strongly advised that we open ourselves to the idea of one day adopting should we wish to have kids. With that one ovary, boy number one came the following year. We named him Rajiv. He's a wedding photographer. And as I read, he's on a job now. 2 years later, another boy arrived. He is Sanjeev. He's employed as a petroleum geoscientist with Heritage. And then a further 2 years later, Kavir came. He's a psychiatrist. And the gynecologist who delivered all three at Victoria Nursing Home advised that we quit while the going was good. We didn't. I suppose we wanted a girl. And I was teased by my male colleagues and friends that although I was a father of 3 boys, to prove myself a man, I had to have a girl as well. But the darling little girl simply refused to come, perhaps in another janam. But that is not the end of the story. There is a 4th son. His name is Casey, and he has just completed writing CSEC. I don't know, I wasn't looking, but as Moti would say, I leave that for another time. And speaking of Moti, a little advertisement here. I got a copy of his book, Aji and Nani Kahanis, just a few hours earlier. It's available online on Amazon and it's also on Barnes & Noble for $16.99 US. And there's a Kindle version of it. That's for $3.99 US. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. So I want to implore you to, when you get a chance, get a hold of a copy. And as Dosha mentioned earlier, our thoughts are also with Moti as he underwent cardiac surgery. Cabbage, they called it cabbage. Frank would appreciate this, coronary artery bypass graft, CABG, but they pronounce it as cabbage. On Friday, he did that, and our thoughts are with him. We hope he would progress gradually. People say, I wish you a speedy recovery. Recovery is never speedy. It takes time. And you have to be a part of that also. You have to will it. So I was saying there's a 4th son. His name is Casey, and he has just completed writing CSEC. I don't know, as I said, I wasn't looking. But as Moti would say, I leave that for another time. Happy Father's Day 2023. I thank you all for listening.
What a delightful part of your autobiography, Krishna. That is wonderful. Lovely, lovely story there, and very happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Cynthia. I say it's about time, I tell this story.
Lovely.
Not story, but you see, I'm breaking up.
I certainly enjoyed that, Krishna. And in fact, with the same engaging style that he wrote what he just wrote about his fatherhood. I recently got his book, actually. Can you see that?
Mm-mm.
No, the background is
The background is absorbing it.
the background is absorbing it.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, it's called The Novarians, and I've gotten to a few chapters in, and I grew up as a boy in Trinidad, and exactly how he describes it, I can see myself. I can see the situation that he describes in the book. Very short sentences, which I appreciate, and it's like reliving my boyhood again when the first few chapters I've read. So I'm looking forward to completing it. Very nicely written, Krishna, about the fatherhood. And in fact, I myself have a similar story, which I might write about one day.
Yeah, you should. You should. Thank you, Frank.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing your story, Krishna. I really enjoyed hearing it. Any other comments? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. I believe I am up next. And I'm the last reader for the open mic session for today. Okay, my piece is entitled Quack, 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 Quack. This is how you know when to flip the fish. Watch how I do it so the oil won't splash. Watch me polish your shoe so you won't waste the polish. If you get lost, act like you know where you're going. Don't stand around looking stupid. When in doubt, head for Port of Spain. From there, you know home. Washing our whites in the concrete sink, iron shirts in a line. Mother ties her hair in white and a cloth around her waist. Father in the kitchen, hurrying us to haste. $1 for each of our pockets, destined for the collection plate. I could cook better than any woman. No woman can make style on me. You must be able to eat at the queen's table, even if all you ever see is her stables. Knife and fork on Sundays and wine at Christmas. We're visiting a partner. If they give you water in a jar, drink from it like it's a glass. Weekend is the best time. We're driving. Beach, river, pizza, movies, boat, country, wedding. Us ducklings following behind. And that's my share. Any comments? Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and move on to our part of our program that brings our open mic to a close. I'm going to open the floor for a minute or two if anyone brought something that they would like to read for the open mics portion of the program. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the program for today. That is our open mic session. Thank you so much for everyone that read our pieces. The theme, as you've noticed for today, was Father's Day. So it was delightful to hear others read my work. Thank you, Ashira. It was lovely. And Frank. And thank you, Vishnu, for reading, and Krishna for sharing such a personal, lovely story. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end our session. Please do not click off. We are just stopping our recording and ending our portion of the open mic program, our discussion portion of Poetry and Prose, where we discuss other poets' works it's not recorded. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop the recording. And we will stop